Hello all, welcome to lesson 11 of the masterclass Queen vs Rook Endgame. This is the second part of the Wishbone position. Now we'll dive into the more hard to break Wishbone positions, the fourth and the fifth position. Uh, Mastering these positions is what can make us become a master. So these are the lessons that are hard, but that pay the effort in practical play. So let's start with this fourth position. We start by the same technique. We give a check, the king goes up. Now the king goes down, and now we know how to deal with a distant defense, and we also know how to deal with rook e1. But in this position, the best defense for black that poses more problems for white is to go a2 to stay in the same rank as the king, posing a lot more problems to break. Let's just review the other option. We give a check, the king goes down, we go to the other side. Now the rook goes to a decent defense, and now we simply just break it with the simple triple threat technique that we learned before. Now the rook checks and the king goes down, and I have a fork. So let's just get this out of the way and stay focused on this position. So white to move. The idea is to treat this as also a distant defense. So we need to control the checking square, and we can do it easily by checking the king and immediately controlling the checking square. So now the king needs to move, of course, and it has some possibilities. Okay, but not all are to be considered because, for example, if it goes here, I have a fork over here and I get the rook easy win. And also, if it goes here, like for example now, I have a simple checkmate, I win, let's go. So this doesn't work. So the remaining ones are these two. Let's see first the easiest one. If the king climbs up, then we give a check. We stay in this adjacent diagonal to the forking diagonal. Why this is better than this short one? Because I can reach the corner. And so the idea is to trap the king into one side, and then when I come back, I have the forking of the king. So let's see what the king can do. It can go up, of course, because otherwise I have a checking over here. Okay, so this is not working for black because I will trap the king. Also, if it comes down, I'll keep pressing him. But first, let's see how it goes when it goes up. Well, I almost just explained it. I give a check, and whatever the king does, he needs to come back to the G file, and then I have a fork over here and win the game. So, and if it comes back, well, I have this one. So thank you very much. Next. So this was the position where I check the king and the king goes up. So the king needs to go down. Okay. And so it's white to move again. And so the move is approach my king because I'm controlling the checking square. So now I can approach my king. Let's see first what happened if the rook moves. If the rook moves away, like for example, staying in the same file, let's see for example over here, uh, we are simply going to catch the king because we are threatening checkmate. Okay, the king can't move back. We also are threatening checkmate over here, and we are controlling the checking square. So this doesn't work for black because I simply approach the king one more time. The same goes over here if I want to approach the king. Otherwise, I can also fork the rook. So staying on the same file as you are seeing, it's not working. Also, if it goes here, well, I can simply do it again. And if it goes down, it's not hard to find that it will be over soon, okay? With a simple fork. So the rook can stay on the same file. If the rook moves to the side, let's see, for example, if it goes here, then I simply have a check and a fork over there. And let's see now the other option of going to the other side. The simplest technique, easier to remember, is we want to corner the king in one side of the board so we can checkmate easily. How we do that? We give a check. This is a fourth move. And now my king can't work on this diagonal. So I prefer to give an open diagonal check. Okay, so this is the key detail because I want to be in a long diagonal, either this one or this one. So the king now can move down. Let's see, for example, if it goes here to resist. Well, this doesn't work. Okay, but if it goes down, check, needs to go up, check. If it goes down again, check. If it goes up, check. I am approaching the queen. And now if it goes here, it's a checkmate over here. So not a good option. But the same will not be avoided because I will approach and get this position where I'm simply threatening mate over here and there's nothing black can do because if it plays over there, I can simply take the rook and it will be checkmate again. So basically, when the rook goes to the other side, I approach my queen, check, and give this check. We saw now what happens if the king goes down. If it goes up, let's say, for example, over here, it's not that hard to find. So now there's only two options. For example, if I go over here, and I keep approaching my queen, now I am threatening to take the rook, so the king needs to go here, and I got the same position where it's unavoidable, the checkmate. Other possibility is to go to h3, and now I check the king. The king can either go back, and I will give this kind of checks that we saw before, or it will try to stay over here and, like for example, over here, and now it's not possible to do anything to avoid reaching this same position and will checkmate the king. So coming back to the start, when we reach this position, let's see, we give a check, the king moves over here and I approach my king. Now the rook needs to move. The better option is to go that way, but as we saw, we need to just to remember to use this technique to place my queen in an open diagonal so we can approach it and corner the king to give checkmate. So we saw what happens if the rook moves. Let's see now what if the king moves. Well, this is easy. If it goes to the other side, two options. Let's start by this one. Very easy. Check. And we grab the rook. And so the only option if black doesn't want to go rook h2, it's to go king g1, but then I will give this discovered check. Now the options needs to be done again. Of course, it can't work the rook to go to h2 anymore because the king is in check. So if it goes back, it's a checkmate. If it goes, for example, to this side, it's just a question getting into the mating, the forking diagonal. So now it needs to go back. I will approach it. Of course, it can't go here because otherwise I will fork or with a checkmate. So it needs to come back again. I'll do this again. And now I have two choices, either this one or this one. I prefer this one because it's a direct fork. And I will win the game. So let's come back over here. So it's impossible for black to escape. So we have seen how to break this position. We have the simple technique, but there will be a new defense from the rook on h2. So now let's set up the new position, the final one. So let's now see when the king is 5 squares away from the border, the fifth position. In this position, the problem is if I give a check, the king goes. Now I have seen how to break this defense, so we won't waste much time over here. It's not also the best defense for this position, is this one, and you'll figure out why. I give a check, the king goes down, and then the problem is I can't go to J1 because there's no J file, it's just H. So what can white do when reaching this position? Well, you may not remember, but we have seen this while we were studying the human escape from one of our previous lessons. But the idea is, because the queen can't go to the other side, we need to stay in the same rank, of course, but in an open diagonal. So let's see what is this diagonal. Here is the diagonal. We saw this on the human escape. I will just review it for you to remember. And so now it's black to move, and okay, only two pieces to move. If we start with the king, well, the key move is this one, where we attack the rook. Anywhere the rook goes, it will be a defeat for black. So let's see, for example, if it stays in the same rank, what happens? Well, I just play king f3, and now it will be easy win because whatever the rook does, if it approaches, I can simply go until the checkmate is unavoidable. And if the rook moves away, of course, we already saw the checking. If it moves this side, I have a checkmate over here. And if it goes to the other side, let's see, for example, what happens if I go here. I simply can approach my queen with, for example, check. Okay, the rook needs to go back and checkmate. Let's see another more. This one, it's going to be very similar. Check. The king needs to move away, otherwise we have seen the mate. And now we have a simple fork to catch the rook. So basically, we don't need to see the other one because the other one is just a simple fork again. So there's no escape. So the king can't move, basically. So the rook, what are the options for the rook? If it approaches, I just get my king near and the checkmate will be unavoidable. If it goes too far away, I have simply checking. The king moves. Now this is like a Philidor position where I try to grab the rook on the forking diagonal. So I give another check. The king moves and I simply can and go get the rook. Okay. So the rook needs to stay on the same file. This position is easy lost. This one also will be lost. So the two key squares are this one. Both are good for the defense perspective. If we go here, well, we give a check. If it goes to the side, we will have a fork. And if it goes to the other side, now probably you can figure out what is the move. If you want, pause the video, try to find it, but I'll tell you now. It's a triple threat, of course. We have a triple threat. And so it's impossible for black to escape the forking or the mate. We have seen the triple threat. There are a lot of triple threats going on in this position. So the final one is to go to f6, but then we press the king in this threat of discover check, and whatever black does, it will be over very soon. The best defense is to come to f2, but we have seen this position before. It's the diagonal position that we already studied in our lesson. Okay, so to conclude these lessons on the wishbone, we have 6 positions according to the distance from the border of the white king. Each one has some details. So the easiest one is where the king starts on the sixth position. Then the third, because we apply the simplest technique when we are on the third. Then the second, it's a just small detail. We don't have the triple threat on the on the second, but we will have a direct check with a fork next. We have this position that's more complicated for white, but knowing the technique and don't fall into the stalemate trap, it's also easy to cover. And today, in this lesson, we saw the fourth and the fifth way how to break this wishbone. So I hope you have enjoyed and keep studying because when we want to be masters, we really need to be comfortable when we reach this kind of end games. And also think in the opposite way. Imagine you are with the rook and your opponent thinks, okay, I have an easy win, and then you can find the best human practical problems so he can't win immediately, and suddenly probably you can draw the game, or even he sleeps and you get the queen and win it. So good luck in your games, keep studying, and we will see you in future lessons.